my name is Dmitry, and we had an accident in Spain, and Mavic Air 2 nearly cut my finger off. So we are currently in a very difficult relationship, and because I treat it as clear domestic abuse, and it just refers to reaction to toxic environment. Like, seriously. So after some thinking, we have decided to get a divorce. I know it's a difficult, tough choice, but it's the right one to make. On a good note, I am moving on, and I am already dating someone. Okay, I can't continue like this. Oh.
You've probably noticed, if you haven't, check out my channel, we travel a lot. And I already have like 4 operator IDs. I've got CAA registration, I've got stickers on my drone all around the place, and I think I've completed the exam like 5 times already. And don't get me wrong, safety first for sure, but you cannot disagree that it's still a pain in the ass. And it's not like I need a professional drone with DSLR on it. I'm okay with something that will just make some nice footage for my travel videos, that is compact, so that I don't need to wear a small London flat on my back, and something that will give me an opportunity to shoot without hassle in different countries. And based on all the marketing, DJI Mini 3 Pro is exactly that. But is it? Let's figure out together. I will be completely unbiased, as I can still keep my Mavic Air 2 and I can sell this one if I don't like it. This is not sponsored by DJI, so let's get to it. So after the first touch, you can clearly feel that this drone is extremely light, and there is no magic behind it. A very lightweight plastic is used, and lack of ventilation, lack of the side sensors, definitely helping with the compactness and the weight of this drone. But what about the quality? Well, it's not bad. I mean, you can clearly feel like it's not as strong as its bigger brothers, but the mechanism for the legs is actually pretty strong. The plastic has its usual sandy texture and it feels pretty sturdy. The propellers themselves, they actually look pretty similar to the Air 2, so I would say they're pretty good as well. Gimbal, well, to be honest, I always feel very scared touching the gimbal, as they always feel very sensitive, so my general recommendation would be not touching it, no matter how sturdy it is. Overall, it's okay, but it's not as strong as the Air 2, so the point goes to the big brother. I always struggle putting these cases on. I'm always afraid to break the camera. Okay, I think it's good. Obviously, drones can never fly the advertised time because there are a million excuses, as our time is based on ideal conditions, which basically means that every flight can never be used as a guidance because every flight is different, there's gonna be different wind, different other factors, blah blah blah. So let's actually do 2 tests. Let's do 1 test outside and 1 test inside, which would be similar to ideal conditions, I would assume. But first, let's go outside.
As you can see, it's very sunny outside, and there are no ND filters currently available on the market for this drone, so I do expect some blown out shots. So I would say it's not very windy, but the gusts are actually at around 24 miles per hour on 50 meters altitude, so it's definitely not going to be an easy ride. I am a little bit afraid about the birds here because we are at the dock and there are a lot of them. And last time I've flown, they were pretty aggressive, so I really hope they're not going to start fighting my new small drone. So that's going to be an unfair fight, I would say. So we're going to definitely try to max out the battery to see how long it can fly in these conditions. So we got, I don't know if you can see this, we got 22 minutes of flight, which is definitely not what was advertised. It did have some juice left in the battery, but it started beeping so loudly that just forced me to land it. So yeah, let's see what can it do in the perfect conditions. This flight has given me a lot of useful information about this remote control, about its features and how to use it, and I can clearly see some big advantages, but also some pretty bad disadvantages, but we'll cover that when we get to the RC. For now, let's pack this small beast back in the bag, go back to the flat, watch the footage that we managed to get out of it, and continue our test. Let's go.
Looks clean now. Okay. So now let's put our drone in ideal conditions. I will hover it in my flat, where I don't have any wind, and let's see how long it's gonna take. Yes, I will sacrifice my ears, but I'll do everything for you, my subscriber. Not everything. Considering that Air 2 would not even get me to 20 minutes most of the times, I would say that Mini 3 Pro can definitely fly longer. Yes, it's not as much as advertised time, but it still can fly longer, so point to that one. 1-1. Okay, so now that the drone is dead, let's see how long it's gonna take to charge it. Obviously, it depends on how powerful your adapter is gonna be. I'm gonna be using the 60-watt one, so let's see how long it's gonna take to fully charge it.
I don't have Fly More Combo yet, as it's not available in UK, so I don't have the fancy charger. So I'm gonna be connecting it directly to the power. Time's on.
Obviously 3 hours is not convenient during travels, so you will definitely need extra batteries if you're planning to shoot a lot, but you can plan your trips in a way that you will shoot for 30 minutes a day, and to be honest, that's plenty of time, and then just charge during the night. I used this strategy a lot of times and it worked pretty well. But even if this battery charges quicker than on the Air 2, to be honest, they both are not convenient for travel, so they're just okay. So, you know, no one wins, and just because I'm a nice guy, I will give a point to both of them. With the new APAS 4.0, this drone is definitely much smarter and much more capable. It can bypass the objects for you, and with a small size, you get more opportunity in terms of space where it can safely fly. But lack of sight sensors is still a major gap of this drone, as making cinematic shots will force you to fly sideways, so you will always feel scared of crashing it. So in terms of manual agility, when you're flying it on your own, you definitely get some benefits because of its new smarter features and the size. But in terms of automated assisted flying, I would say there's not much of a difference. So considering neither the Mini or Air 2 has sight sensors, so neither gets points on that one, but because you feel much more safe flying this one in smaller space, Mini Pro will get a point, so 3-2. So the wind resistance is actually same on both drones. Go and check out this video. Peter, amazing wind test, loved it, insane. To be honest, I am sometimes astonished on how these drones are capable of wind resistance, even in times when I feel uncomfortable. So points to both of them, 3-4, 4-3, hands down. One thing to mention though, the Air 2 does fly quicker a little bit. So it doesn't matter for me that much because I've never actually maxed out the speed of the Air 2, neither of this drone. So I would say it's not very important for me, so I'm not gonna give away any points of that. But if you do feel that the speed is important for you, then you can give 1 point to the Air 2. So this is where it gets tricky, as it's really hard to interpret range tests as there are a lot of external factors affecting, like signal interference, weather conditions, position, your own position as well. So I will share a range test here, so have a look. I haven't done myself like a proper range test, but from the test I did feel that there are still some issues with the Mini 3 Pro and the new RC. I have noticed big signal fluctuations when I flew the Mini drone in London, right? Like, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of signal interference in London, but comparing to the Air 2, this one started showing some signal issues in around 300-400 meters, whereas the Air 2 started glitching on around 600-700. So for now, maybe they will fix this in the firmware update, but for now, the point goes to the Air 2. So, 4-4. So yes, Mini 3 has bigger sensor and it has 1.7 aperture, which means it will be better in terms of quality and it will be better in the low light. But I don't want to give away points just for the specs. I really want to compare the quality of image. So I did take similar shots in Canary Wolf on both drones. So let's see if you can guess which one was taken on which drone. Not bad at all. Well, to be honest, considering that we are getting the 10-bit decine-alike on the Mavic 3 Pro, we get much more opportunity to color correct and color grade the picture in post-production. We get much better depth of field, we are getting much better picture, much better details. And to be honest, that's all considering we did not have an ND filter on it. So, a well-deserved point, Mini 3 Pro. The remote controller looks pretty cool. The screen looks pretty big and bright. Obviously there are no cables as you don't need to connect to the phone. And even holding it makes you feel like a true professional. But is it actually better than a phone? Let's compare. So let's start on the pros of this remote controller. First of all, you get the new joysticks, and they are definitely much better than the old one. They're actually similar to the RC Pro, which makes it much better to control the drone. You can definitely feel that. Secondly, it is lighter than this one. Is it? Let's see. Then again, no cables needed as you don't need to connect it to the phone, you just turn it on and the Fly app starts automatically, which is pretty convenient. And again, because it's not a phone, you don't get distracted with any notifications that you might get during the flight, which is pretty useful. So, and that's really it, because in reality, my phone has inbuilt GPS, so I can use the fly spot and see all the rules in different areas straight out of the phone, whereas the RC has to be connected to the drone in order to get the location. Also, my phone is actually brighter than this screen. The iPhone has 800 nits, whereas this screen only has 700 nits. So in a sunny condition, I will see everything on my phone better than on the screen. My phone screen is actually bigger than this screen as well, and with the old RC, you could attach an iPad, for example, so you could go with any screen really, any size. You could probably even connect it to your TV. And also, setting up the remote controller is sometimes pain, as it sometimes throws errors. There's sometimes issues with connection between the remote controller and the drone. It sometimes takes a little bit longer to bind them. Then you actually still need a phone, because in order to make this one work, especially when you need like different authorizations, you need Wi-Fi. And so you will need to tether from your phone. So at the end of the day, if something goes wrong with the remote controller, you would need to take out your phone, tether, connect your remote controller to the Wi-Fi. So actually it could take even longer time to get the whole thing working. So I wouldn't be very strongly opinionated on this RC. I mean, it looks cool, but actually, apart from the really good joysticks, and to be honest, they are really good, I wouldn't see there is anything that is really beneficial comparing to the just a standard remote controller. So half of a point, fair? Tell me in the comments, do you think that's fair? But I don't think it deserves a full point on that. Okay, so setup of this drone was actually pretty harsh, because this drone doesn't have any ventilators, which means when it's not flying and cooling itself through the wind that it's creating, it overheats. And if you are setting up your drone for longer than, I don't know, like 5-6 minutes, it will turn off because it's gonna overheat. So my general recommendation, whatever you need to upgrade it, use the cable, as again, by the time you will turn it on, you will connect the remote controller to the Wi-Fi, start downloading, and if you have some issues with the Wi-Fi, it will download it very slowly. By that time, this drone is gonna turn off because it's gonna overheat. If it turns off, the whole process on the remote controller is gonna stop, so you will need to start again. And that is, guys, pain in ass. So yeah, that was actually pretty frustrating when I started setting it up, because I tried to do this through the remote controller, then I realized it's just easier to do this through the PC or a laptop. So because Air 2 does have the ventilation, so when it stands it still cools itself, the whole user experience on setting it up, on upgrading and all that kind of stuff is much easier, so that point definitely goes to that one. Sorry. Obviously, the sub 249 grams model will give you a massive advantage in terms of user experience when you're traveling. I'm still keeping my license and the insurance, but I feel much better that I don't need to register it in every single country I'm traveling to. So the point goes to this one right now. And yeah, I'm giving away points, right? Like, it's just crazy, as if I'm just giving money away. In terms of features, this drone has master shots, which are available on the more professional drones. I'm more of a manual person, so I'm not using those features a lot, and again, it doesn't have the side sensor, so I'm a bit careful on that. But the vertical shooting is dope. I think this is actually gonna motivate me to make more reels in future as well. As you know, previously, if I would want to make a story or a reel on an Instagram, I would need to crop the image and it would make it a little bit blurry. So yeah, the point goes definitely to the Mini Pro on that. So to summarize, this drone is a good drone. It doesn't beat the Air 2 completely, but considering its new features, considering its obvious small size, it is worth keeping, and I will be using at my main drone now. So in terms of you chaps, I mean, if you're upgrading, I would definitely look into what you are looking for. If you're looking for something smaller, then this is a great option as it has a great camera and all good new features, and it is also very small. If you're buying a new drone, then this is obviously a great option for you. It's relatively cheap as well on the market. If you're just looking for an upgrade and you're just looking for a much better camera or much longer shooting or a much better range, I wouldn't recommend upgrading. I would just stick to what you have already, as let's not forget, it's not about the gear, it's about how you use it. So I hope you found this video useful. Smash that like button if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you're not bothered to see this face more in your feed and learn more about cool stuff about photography and videography. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye. Look, do not cut my fingers off. I am not afraid of another divorce. No, not afraid at all.